Hello everyone, my name is Nidhi Anand. Today we will be throwing light on chapter number 9 of Bhagavad Gita, which is titled The Most Confidential Knowledge. This chapter has 34 verses in all, and it begins with the verse number 1, in which it is stated that one has to be non-envious to know or realize Krishna. In verse number 2, it is said that bhakti or devotion is the king of all knowledge. It is most confidential and is joyfully performed. So, I would like to quote verse number 2 from Bhagavad Gita, which says, Raj Vidya Raj Guhyam Pavitra Mid Muttatmam Pratyaksh Vagamam Dharmayam Susukham Kartamuvimavamam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. In verse number 3, it is said that the faithless cannot attain Krishna, and it has been stated in Bhagavad Gita that those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of enemies. Conqueror of enemies here is addressed to Arjun by Lord Krishna. Therefore, they return to the path of birth and death into this material world. Now, from verses 4 to 6, the Aishwarya Gyan or the knowledge of opulence of Krishna has been given, and Krishna's relationship with this world has been explained. From verses 4 to 6, it is stated that Krishna pervades and maintains the entire material world by his energies, yet he is not in everything. Basically, here it is said that Krishna is the one who is maintaining the entire material world by his energies, and still he is not in everything. He pervades everything, and still he is apart from it. The material world is created and destroyed periodically by Krishna's different energies and his will, but all this work cannot bind him. In verse number 10, it is said that Krishna is the supreme director. I would like to quote this verse from Bhagavad Gita, which says, Maya dhayakshanen pakritihi suyate sucharacharam hetunanen konteya jagadviparivartate, which means this material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction. O son of Kunti. Son of Kunti here is addressed to Arjun. Producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated or dissolved again and again. From verses 11 to 12, it says that fools consider Krishna as an ordinary human being, and they not consider him to be the supreme personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the entire world. From verses 13 to 14, it is said Mahatmas or great souls or Ananya Bhaktas worship Krishna constantly with devotion. Here I would like to quote verse number 13 of chapter number 9, which says Mahatmanastu mam partha devim prakritim ashritah bhajanti ananya manaso jnanatva bhutadim avyavam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Here, O son of Pritha is again addressed to Arjun, as Lord Krishna is in conversation with Arjun. I would also like to quote verse 9.14 after this, in which it is said that Ananya Bhaktas worship Krishna constantly. And the verse is Satatam Kirtayanto Mam Yantatanscha Dridha Vrataha Namasyantascha Mam Bhaktaya Nitya Yukta Upastate, which means always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. Perpetually here would mean constantly worship me with some or the other form of devotion. Now, coming to verse 15, here it is said that there are three kinds of jnanis or people who are situated in knowledge who worship Krishna. From verses 16 to 19, it is said that worshipping Krishna in his universal form or the Vishwarup Upasana is done as Krishna is all pervading, ultimate shelter, and cause of all causes. From verse 20 to 25, the demigod worship has been discussed, and it is said that it is a wrong way of worshipping Krishna. By PT, one attains heaven but comes back to earth. One's destination depends on one's worship. Better worship Krishna. Now here I would like to quote verse 9.22 and verse 9.33 of Bhagavad Gita. Verse 9.22 says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate tesam nityabhyukta nam yoga shemam vahamyaham, which means, but those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. And verse 9.23 states about demigod worship, which is a wrong way of Krishna worship. And here it is said, Ye apyante devataha bhakta yajante shraddha yanvitaha te api mam eva kaunteya yajanti avidhi purvakam. Those who are devotees of other gods and demigods and who worship them with faith actually worship only me, O son of Kunti, but they do so in a wrong way. Here again, O son of Kunti is being addressed to Arjun as Lord Krishna is still in conversation with Arjun. So from verse 20 to 25, demigod worship has been described, and it has been stated that it is a wrong way of worshipping Krishna. By PT, one attains heaven but comes back to earth, and one's destination depends on one's worship. So it is better to worship Krishna to attain the supreme abode of Krishna. Now from verse 26 to 34, the glories of the bhakti of Krishna has been discussed, or the devotion has been discussed, or the glories of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead has been discussed. So verse number 26 says that bhakti or devotion is simple. Lord Krishna accepts anything that is offered to him with devotion. From verse 27 and 28, it is said that do everything as an offering to Krishna and thus be freed from bondage. Verse 29 to 31 says that Krishna is equal to all, but specifically inclined to a devotee. He forgives and purifies an imperfect devotee, which means whoever surrenders to Lord Krishna is purified by his grace. From verse 32 to 34, it is said that people of sinful birth also can attain Krishna, which means somebody who has committed any sin can also approach God, as he is extremely kind. What to speak of qualified people? So worship Krishna directly. So this is the end of chapter number 9. I hope you liked the audio and you got some important information from this chapter, as this is one of the most important chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Here I would also like to quote that by the grace of God, today with the completion of this chapter, we have completed half of Bhagavad Gita. There are 18 chapters in all. This was 9th chapter, so we have completed half Bhagavad Gita today. I hope God blesses us and everyone who comes in contact with this audio. Thank you.